saying that he will apply his mind to Justice Ramond Zondo's invitation to submit an affidavit to the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. Now, Chriselda Lewis, our reporter, joins us once more in studio. Now, Chriselda, just to recap what happened earlier.
Well, we saw that surprising invitation by the Deputy Chief Justice Ramond Zondo, saying that he's invited the former President Jacob Zuma to depose of an affidavit, basically giving his side of the story. And just a couple of, about 30 minutes ago, there lands a statement from the lawyers representing former President Jacob Zuma, saying that the former president is applying his mind at the moment and he's going to consult with his lawyers, and basically rubbishing in that statement also assumptions that the former president does not want to comply with the commission, because you must recall what is also mentioned in that statement is that the lawyers are saying when President Jacob Zuma opted not to cross-examine those who implicated him, his statement, you must recall, did say that he does not believe that he was ethically or criminally implicated by those testimonies. So we're really seeing somewhat a change in attitude from the very same man who just yesterday had addressed learners, or rather students, at Walter Sisulu University, and basically saying there's no state capture in South Africa. Let's link to that up sound of that plea from the chair of the commission, Sakina.
I have extended that invitation to the former president to assist the commission by considering deposing to an affidavit and deal with those two aspects. And his attorney is here, and he has undertaken to convey that invitation to him.
Yes, the operative word there being an invitation. Yes. So the devil's advocate in me is asking, so this was an invitation extended to former President Jacob Zuma and he declines. What's the big deal? Well,
Sakina, it leaves the commission with the option to subpoena the former President Jacob Zuma, and you must recall that this would not be the first time that a former president appears before a commission of inquiry. Recall that former President Thabo Mbeki had appeared before the arms deal inquiry itself. So if this invitation, it's almost devil's advocate, as you point out, we extend an invitation to you, and if you don't accept our invitation, then there is that possibility that the commission itself would subpoena the former President Jacob Zuma to come and give his side of the story, given the fact that he's at the center, together with the Gupta family, of these allegations. Also important to note, Sakina, before we wrap up, is that what we now know is that the National Prosecuting Authority here in South Africa, you'd be aware of the prosecutors' conference that is taking place in Sandton in Johannesburg. We now know that the National Prosecuting Authority here in South Africa has had talks on the sidelines with officials from the prosecuting authority in the United Arab Emirates. So this sort of paving the way in terms of talks of how the National Prosecuting Authority plans to bring the Guptas to come and account for the allegations that are facing them here in South Africa.
Well, another eventful day at the Commission into State Capture, and our reporter Chriselda Lewis there with the latest. And more news in just a bit.